with fire extinguisher. When you have small fire at your house, use throwers to extinguish it.
Hello there, and welcome to the Outside View presented by Throwvas. So, some one-sided contests, excellent bowling performances is what something we witnessed yesterday when the cricketing action unfolded at Birmingham. So, let's discuss about that and also about the semi-finals that we are all excited to watch. Joining me in the discussion today is Yash Lahoti. Welcome, Yash.
Hi.
So, we were discussing about South Africa's bowling unit the other day that it has looked like their weak link, maybe, but it was an opportunity for them yesterday because batting woes of Sri Lanka continued. So, do you think this win that South Africa got against Sri Lanka, it was very important for them to boost their morale because they haven't been in their best form in the recent times?
I think so. You boost your morale when you have some or the other games that are coming up. But in terms of South Africa, you don't know what their next schedule is. Most of their players will be playing the 100 in different teams. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Of course, they wanted that win. They got that win, and pretty convincingly. It was a very much one-sided effort. I didn't expect this kind of a hammering from Sri Lanka. Like, just get 46 all out, and then South Africa chase it down in 49 in whatever 6.1 overs. It was a sort of a hammering. Of course, your skipper Sunelis would be a little pleased with her team that okay, you at least put a good performance against Sri Lanka. But see, the problem is not Sri Lanka, or the problem is not South Africa. The problem is there is a huge gap in terms of how the teams are right now. It's like Australia is at a different level. Then there is a little bit of a gap. Then there is England. Then there is a little bit of gap. Then there is this India and New Zealand. Then there is a gap. Then there is South Africa. And then there is a huge gap. Then there is a West Indies and Pakistan. Then again there is a huge gap. There is Sri Lanka. And then the rest of the teams I'm not even considering or comparing. It's like the gap between the teams is only increasing day by day. I read a stat yesterday, Hypocost put it out that since 2013, when the ICC Women's Championship, ODI Championship has come into effect, wherein you are compelled to play against every other team at least once in that cycle, Sri Lanka has not played a non-ICC ODI Championship match or series against any team. So they have only played those series, whereas the likes of the big three, the England, Australia, Indias of the world, have regularly played against each other in a non-ICC ODI championship. South Africa recently played against England the last month. So the other teams are doing that. Sri Lanka, I don't know, and they are in a hopeless situation, to put it very bluntly. What do you feel like? You we discussed about the Sri Lanka top order. Except for Chamari, there is no one. Yesterday we didn't see the Chamari. Of course, she was there till Sri Lanka was 5 down, but we saw that okay, it was not great. What do you think about the Sri Lanka batting lineup? Because the bowling is good. What do you think about their batting lineup, and what do you feel they need to do the changes? Because they have whatever a month at least an off period. What do you think they need to do the changes now?
So for Sri Lanka, we've seen that they played decent amount of cricket before they headed to Commonwealth Games. They had the Pakistan series as well. They played against India as well. They lost, but they got quite a few matches to get their rhythm, to solve their permutations and combinations there. But of course, as you rightly mentioned, that batting has been their concern. After COVID, they waited really long, like probably 500 plus days to come back to international cricket. So the one thing, of course, they will have to work is their approach. Maybe you cannot always depend on somebody like a Chamari Attapattu. Of course, when she has a day, she will take the bowlers, she'll win matches for you, but you want that support coming in from other players as well. And it's not like they don't have a skill set. They have a lot of batters who have the potential to go there and probably hit those big sixes and big fours. We know that Vishmi Gunaratne has some good records in the domestic circuit. It's about grooming the talent that you have probably, and that's what the Sri Lanka's unit would be thinking and putting their thinking hats on for. Nurturing the players well and changing the approach when it comes to batting, because yesterday we saw that even when the batting unit was struggling, they were a little bit harsh drives, harsh shots there. Probably players taking a lot more responsibility, and that would go Sri Lanka's way because we know that they have good bowling unit. Just a good batting performance to support that, and we might just see Sri Lanka doing well in the coming days, and that's what the Sri Lankan fans would also hope for. So that was this about the first game. It was a one-sided affair. 46 runs wasn't ever going to hurt anyone there. South Africa won that. And Anisha Bosch and Tasmin Brits, of course, got the team to the finish line. And the second game was almost the same. The scripts didn't quite change there. New Zealand did play 20 overs here, unlike Sri Lanka did. But what went wrong for them, Yash? And heading into the semi-finals, they'll play India. Do you think that this loss is going to hurt their somewhere, their mindset at least?
It will, of course, it will. There's no doubt about that. What went wrong? Very simple. West Indies relies on that big three. Used to rely on that big three of Doughton, Taylor, and Matthews.
Yeah.
New Zealand, in today's case, relies on this big three of Devine, Bates, and Kerr, and they bat in the top three. So once those wickets are down, you are eventually finished. And Catherine Brunt and Isabel Wong made sure that yes, these three wickets are done. And once those three wickets were done, it's like okay, you can shut your TV off because you know that England is going to win and New Zealand is going to lose. But yeah, to lose so badly and to just put 71 for 9 in 20 overs is pretty shameful, I'll say, because I understand the use of harsh words, but I feel that uh, you can do better. See, you have a lot of like everything is your way. It's not like you were batting brilliantly till whatever the India series that just happened in February. What's happened in those 4 months or 6 months, whatever? I don't really understand. And you see that batting lineup we were discussing pre the show. There's like they have a very lengthy tail. Like number 6 is Jensen, number 7 is Tahu. Then you have their wicket keeper Gage. Then you have Rosemary Mayer. All these players, I don't really understand that what's the situation because when you bowled, you only bowled 5 bowlers, and Mayer didn't bowl. Who's the other bowler who didn't bowl? Let's check.
Hannah.
Yeah,
Hannah
Hannah
Rowe.
Rhodes didn't bowl. Like these are mainly the bowlers, right? They are there in the team as bowlers. If you don't bowl them, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because then you could have had 2 more batters. Maybe the situation would have been a lot different. So the planning, I have a question about the planning. They have a new coach, I understand, but at the same time, this is basic planning. If you're not going to have them to bowl, or maybe it's just because there are little runs on the board, but you should have confidence in your bowlers that okay, this is what the target they have set. But yeah, full marks to England for what they did. They knew that yes, you just need these 3 wickets. Once you have these 3 wickets, you're done. And Brunt and Wong did the same thing for them. What do you feel heading into that medal matches or what semi-finals right now? What is something that England now needs to improve? Because the bowling looks pretty decent, pretty in good shape. What do you think about the batting right?
Batting, of course, we know that they have those big potential names, but I would really want to see their openers coming in and bringing that dominating play because we haven't seen the best of Danny Wyatt and Sophia Dunkley yet. We know that Danny Wyatt, there was a question just before the Commonwealth Games that with whom will Danny Wyatt open the innings? And then we saw Sophia Dunkley and Danny Wyatt opening the innings against the series against South Africa there. And we were expecting a lot just because we know both of them are so capable. And when they are at their best, as fans, as experts, or whatever, we enjoy them watching. So that's what I expect the opening pair to get there and get those quick runs for the side because you know that you have like little bit of depth in your batting unit. There's nothing to worry about. Even if early wickets fall, you have a Catherine Brunt and Nat Siver to save the day for you, just the way Catherine Brunt did in the game against South Africa. So Danny Wyatt and Sophia Dunkley special is what I'm waiting for, and that's something that England would also want because come the semi-final matches, you know that how important it becomes for openers to lay the foundation for other batters to come and build on that. So it would
And
be
I'm
interesting
still
to
not
see.
hoping for that because they're playing India.
Yeah, you can be biased, but from England's perspective, that's what the England setup would want to improve on. the bowling, they tick all the boxes when it comes to bowling there. Catherine Brunt is looking as lethal as ever there. So Izzy Wong, the young Izzy Wong, and Sarah Glenn also making those important and crucial contributions with the ball side. So the side is finding ways to win matches. So we'll have to see if they'll find a way in the semi-finals as well. All said and done, I must say that the time is running fast. We are already into the semi-finals, and the first game that we're gonna see is Australia versus New Zealand. And as we had a chat about,
Wait. It's England
okay,
versus India the first game.
yeah,
Australia and
because
New Zealand play the second game. And wait. Let me just
yeah,
add to this point. A lot of people are saying that the timings are a problem because in Australia and New Zealand are basically playing the night games, wherein in Australia it's going to be 3 a.m. and New Zealand it's going to be 5 a.m. And England and India are playing the early game, which is like 11 a.m. in England and 3:30 p.m. in India. Whereas they should have been playing the other way around. Australia and New Zealand should have played the first game, wherein it would have been 8 and 10 p.m. in Australia, and England and India should have played the second game, wherein it would have been 6 p.m. And 10:30 p.m. in England and India respectively. But as much as see, it's more important to understand the business of sport. It doesn't work. Okay, how many regions are watching? It works on how many people are watching, and we all know that India is the powerhouse of cricket. There are more number of people watching cricket than anywhere else. Giving them the prime time slot of 3:30 rather than 10:30 p.m. at night makes a lot more sense, because people wouldn't have watched a lot of games on a Saturday night. That too, when the sport is not that much famous as men's cricket is. So that is primarily the reason why the CWG and the ICC has gone for 3:30 p.m. start for India and not the 10:30 p.m. start for India. Just so that more number of people are watching, and then they also have a chance to say to the CWG or the IOC that next time there is an Olympics or the Commonwealth Games, we would want cricket to feature, because if you just see the number of viewership of all the sports, cricket does come in the top three.
certainly
Let's
there are these things, but I'm quite sure that the fans wouldn't mind watching the matches no matter what time it's coming, because we're not going to miss the semi-finals of the Commonwealth Games where women's cricket has made its debut. So that's one thing. But of course, let's talk about the first match. It's going to be India versus England, a big semi-final match. We are waiting to see how it pans out. But do you see any changes in India's playing 11? Yes, it's a very peculiar question, because we don't know if India is going to go with the same 11, or are we going to see Yastika Bhatia back in the setup? What do you think?
I will just say what Harman told. Bhatia in for Bhatia. That's the only change I would want to see.
Smart
The rest of the team looks pretty solid. I want to see Astika coming in. If the situation happens the same as it happened the last match, Yastika should play at number 5 then. And you can have a Pooja Vastrikar to close in the innings. You will potentially score more number of runs, because against Barbados you didn't need that, but against England you will need that.
Right.
Two very different setups. Barbados is kind of a state team because a few of their players represent West Indies, so it's a state team from that perspective. It may be a country, but it's a state team when it comes to the West Indies group. When it comes to England, they are not going to leave anything aside. They're just going to have that this is what we want. We want a medal. This is our home soil. Everything is in their favor. India does not have a lot of things in their favor. So India would want to make that upset, say that, okay, you want a medal, you can settle in for bronze. We want the medal. We'll go for the gold and silver. So that's going to be how it is. I just feel that Bhatia in for Bhatia, the only change I would want to see from India.
Well, let's see if that happens. But when it comes to New Zealand, we've been speaking that their top 3 is probably the entire team is dependent on their top 3: the Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, and Amelia Kerr.
Let's finish talking about England before we move on to the second semi-final.
Oh, my bad. I don't know why I went to, yeah, of course. We're talking about England there. Of course, Catherine Brunt has looked at her absolute best, and Jemima Rodrigues got into her rhythm, into her form in the last game. And that's what we enjoyed seeing. So that's what we'll expect in the next game as well. In these conditions, Yash, who do you think is going to be that important player for India? Predict that one player who will shine for India in this contest.
So it's going to be interesting to see the Brunt versus Verma battle again. that we saw last year. It was amazing. So Brunt versus Verma battle is something everyone would want to see. But I feel for India, if they have to do well, Smriti Mandana will have to come to her fore. She loves batting on these tracks. She loves England. She's done well in the KSL, the 100, and she knows nearly all of these bowlers in the setup. So she knows your Brandt, she knows your Wong, she knows Glenn, Eccleston. Eccleston has told the most difficult batter that I think facing is Smriti Mandana. So I feel Smriti Mandana is going to be the edge above England. So if Smriti Mandana scores whatever those quick 60, 70, India is in for a solid chance. What do you think? What do you think from an England perspective? Who's that one player that will want to shine at this big stage?
One player who will want to shine would be Sophia Dunkley, I feel, because that's what everyone is waiting for. And we know that Renuka Singh Thakur is looking lethal. And if she'll open the bowling there. And with the England openers, you want that foundation there. And it's an opportunity for Sophia Dunkley to get her beast mode on once again that we've seen in the recent times. Of course, there's Catherine Brunt. It's always a safe answer to say Catherine Brunt. But maybe I'm rooting a lot for Sophia Dunkley in this contest. So there's so much cricketing action happening there in Birmingham right now. So I already moved on to that New Zealand Australia game just before we started talking about England. It's going to be interesting clearly. So this is about the India and England match, and then we'll see the mighty Australians facing New Zealand. So of course we know that I can't ask you the question that what's the way to stop Australia. No one knows here what's the way. But what should be the plans for that matter for New Zealand, Yash, if they have to, give a tough fight to the mighty Aussies who have so many star players who can win the game for their side?
See, I think so. The only person that can answer this pretty well, or the only two people who can answer this pretty well, are already the captain and coach of New Zealand. Sophie Devine, the captain, has won the WBBL last year as captain of the Perth Scorchers. And Ben Shower knows the Aussie setup more than anyone else does. He was with them as an assistant coach, like literally 2 months back, and he's now the coach of New Zealand. So these are the two people who know the Australian setup pretty well. Like they know each player, they know what's everyone's strength, what's everyone's weakness. They have played against them, with them. Everything has been done. So if there are two people who have an answer to how Australians can be stopped, it is these two people. But at the same time, they know that 90% of that is strength and there's only 10% or less than that is the weakness. So it's going to be a lot difficult for anyone to stop Australia. But if there are two people who actually have an idea, who can sit and make plans against each player, how to stop, what to do exactly, it is these two people.
And are we going to see a Lisa Healy special, because it's a semi-final game, a very important one?
I'll again say, so Shower was the coach of Sixers, so he knows how to stop Alisa Healy. But Alisa Healy over the last year or over the last 3-4 years has improved so much that she can still have that tarot card, the ace in her pocket, and she can say that, okay, Ben, you didn't know this. This is me. This is a new Alisa Healy. Today I'm going to do this. So you never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting to see that Healy versus Devine. That particular combination is going to be very interesting to see tomorrow.
And you're one player to watch out for in this important contest, Yash?
One player to watch out for in this entire contest, I would want to see Amelia Kerr. Like there is no one else I would want to see more than her. I think King has done well, McGrath has done well, Devine has done well, Bates has done well. If I want to see someone do well, it's Amelia Kerr. I just feel that it's time she comes into her own groove. If she on her own is able to beat Australia, the mighty Aussies, I'm taking that any day.
Surely, and she has that potential to turn the tables around with the bat and the ball as well. So we'll all be hoping that Amelia Kerr gets back to her rhythm. It will be for all of us to watch if that happens. Today is, of course, the rest day. Tomorrow we'll see the semi-final games, and we'll see who makes it to the finals, who win that gold, silver, and bronze. It's going to be interesting as women's cricket has made its debut in the Commonwealth Games, and I'm sure that you wouldn't want to miss any action, any updates. So you stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.
Throwers is a good fire extinguisher. When you have small fire at your house, use throwers to extinguish it.